Welcome. Today is a video about ideas. It's an important video about how to assess your ideas. You've got lots of ideas, so many ideas. They're good ideas. You can't possibly do all these ideas in your lifetime. And if you find yourself jumping into actioning some of these ideas without taking the proper assessment, you may find either that the ideas aren't coming into full realization, or you're skipping across too many different things on the boil at once, unable to progress with anything. Things might get stuck, they might peter out, they might completely fail, they might cost you a lot of money, they really might be taxing on your resources. So this is a really important video about ideas assessment. I'm taking this video in a rather large car park just down the road from my house. This place is called the Camden Valley Inn. You can look it up. And you're looking at like a dirty car park and some houses. I'm looking at a gorgeous vista, which is just land and some hills and trees and grass. And I thought it was more important that I take that in while I'm doing this video than it is for you to see that and for me to look at the car park. So, my choice. Okay, so basically I have 6 points. We're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of what to check for before you launch into your ideas. Number 1, be kind to yourself. I'm going to assume that if you're here, you may already have had some ideas that you've launched into or had some confusion around. Maybe they've already gone bad. Maybe you're feeling a bit dismayed and you're not sure how to file through all of these ideas. And so the first, number 1 point is to be kind to yourself, because failures really provide a lot of useful and valuable information. There is always another day. There is always another way. You can have a lot and misuse those resources, or you can have very little and be very cautious and careful and make a lot happen with very little. So, you know, there's a huge scale and range of opportunity, and what we believe to be necessary for positive outcomes is not necessarily what it is. For an idea to come into fruition, to be produced, we're really asking, or we're ready to receive magic. It is about magic coming through us as a vessel, as a medium, as a channel. And this doesn't have to be a spiritual type of task that you're considering or like that you're doing. This is, you know, we're talking about at a very mundane level. If you go to any really successful entrepreneurs, they will generally say there was like some aspect of magic, whether they do or don't identify it as magic. There's usually like a time and a place and a portal of an opportunity. You know, there's certain things that line up. There's a certain essence of timing, and there is a certain destiny that is available there, or a certain magic that is harnessed by the medium, channeled through the medium. So be kind to yourself if your ideas aren't ready to be born, if they were required to be tested and it was part of a testing function. And see if you can look at this in a broader sense as well, not just for your own benefit, but for the benefit of humanity and evolution. But be kind to yourself even if it really feels shit. Part of this being kind is really having a reflection phase. It might be a grieving process even, or a reflective process where you're able to actually go through the steps that you took and what were the missing steps, what was the function, what was the point, when did you feel like it wasn't the right thing to do but you continued to go through anyway. Of course, I'm a human design analyst, so if you want to know a little bit more about your strategy and your authority, which is your inner wisdom, it's your inner authority, the thing in your body, which is going to consistently give you the go-ahead with what projects or ideas to move forward with, I would love to do an assessment for you. But let's move on to number 2. Number 2, in assessing your ideas before taking action, I want you to check it off against your goals and your values. So obviously in big business, they usually have a vision statement, a mission statement, and some values. They usually then go down into some goals. We might do a branding assessment. All of these same techniques can be applied to each individual idea that you have. If you're an ideas machine and you've got like a book and a page, or you're writing out and you have like sort of all of these ideas, like make a mind map. You know, put it down all on a page, and if you can pause, you want to see over time like which ideas really have common threads and current threads. You know, what is really your life vision, and attach it to the lifestyle that you want to live. Like, does it meet your goals for your lifestyle? Also something, you know, which goes a little bit in with this, is what part you might play in fruitioning this idea. Like if you need a team, if you need people who are the builders or the energy makers that are going to come in and help you keep the wheels turning of this idea, or you know, you might work well in a partnership or a small group. You might really be really well on your own, but you might need some outsourcing, some contract type thing to like fulfill some of the aspects. But this is all part of planning. So when you're getting into, like, this is the second point, so it's kind of the first point after you're being kind for the reflective phase. Does it align with your goals and values? Where does it sit in the, you know, scheme and context of all of your different ideas? So it's really important to keep mapping these out. And the longer that you can wait, and the longer that you can assess the larger picture and how things fall together, you may find that different ideas start to kind of come together and weave together, so that you can maximize each one of those ideas, or really, you know, boil down to, or synergize, you know, something, harmonize an idea which has several components, which makes it really worthwhile and very, very grounded, rooted in your goals and values. Number 3, identify who you are serving. So whether this, you know, I'm talking generally about ideas, but these ideas, they might be business ideas. They might be just community ideas. Like they may not, or they're not necessarily all money maker ideas. Maybe they're creative ideas, something that you want to make, something that you want to build. You know, you might not be putting your whole house on it. It can just be at a smaller level, but if you are limited with resources, or you're limited with time, and like, let's face it, this is the realm we live in of collective consciousness, which does define that we have, you know, time that we're playing with and resources that we're playing with. And if you need to calculate those things, it's really important to understand who are you serving? Is it just a personal project? Is it a project that will impact your family? Who does it impact as well as serve? Think of it like that. So if it's a personal project, like, will it be in other people's way? Will you need the assistance of other people? Will you need to take to social media? Like, how big does this pond grow? And are there scalable moments? So like, does it start off with an egg, with it just being you? And does it then grow to your local community and your local town? And does it then grow to a state level, or a country level, or an international or global level, online, offline? Think of where your community is residing. Who are you serving? Are they people who are buying things? Are they people who need things? Are they people who need the service or need the offering without being able to pay? Like, are we helping the earth? Are we helping animals? Like, what is it in service to? Is it in service to earth? That's really going to help to identify as well. It's going to line up with your goals and your values, but it's really important to articulate the scale We really are talking about scale here with service. Because if you have a huge idea and you go straight for the global market, or straight for a bigger thing, you may find that those initial steps, that foundation is just not going to be there. And if you take the time to build that foundation at a personal level and at a local community level, then it's going to have those legs to be able to be scaled. So that's part of part 3. Who are you serving? What is the scale of the service? The next one I want you to consider is it collective, tribal, or individual? Now this might sound like confusing, or maybe we've already touched on that in some of the other points. In human design, again, I'm going to bring that in because I am a human design analyst. So collective, tribal, and individual. Everybody's got a mix of all of those objectives, like who we are working for. And it's good to understand what the difference between those is, and it will give you part of the flavor of what your idea is going to need basically to be successful. If it's a collective ideas tend to be more signed off and approved by, the common person. It might be a tried and true measure. It might have, we've seen it before, we've refined it through the community. It might be something quite common. So what's coming to mind is something like a dog groomers. You've got an idea for a dog groomers. Well, it's not too revolutionary. If you go to any town, you're probably going to find 7 dog groomers. It seems to be quite a, well, at least in my areas like Sydney, we got dog groomers everywhere. We love our dogs. It's kind of a bit of a collective venture, but it might be a collective adventure with a little bit of individuality thrown in there. And an individual is going to be doing something that hasn't really been seen before. It's going to be mutative and unique to them. So it might be a dog groomer salon, and it might have a twist to it, which is going to confuse people. They might be looking at it going, I'm not sure what you're doing here. I just want to go to a dog groomer. You're doing dog grooming and you're, serving spaghetti bolognese while we wait. And I'm really I've got the ick. But, in that person's individual mind, it might be a revolutionary thing. Maybe they're using a new type of a new type of product, or a new type of mechanism or machinery or technique, to groom the dog. So that's where it's good to understand in your own human design chart, in your own blueprint, are you sitting in mostly with that collective group of doing things in the tried and true way? Are you sitting in with that individual group where actually you're mutating and you're providing something transformative, but the collective is not going to recognize it yet? So as a business, if you're going in with this idea, you may know how important it is and what the opportunity is for you to bring your individualness to it, and it is important and it is valid, but you may have some friction with the community as you're delivering or developing this idea. So if you can understand your own human design chart and your own body graph, you're going to know to be ready to weather that period of time where your innovation is needing to be understood or communicated. So you may need some extra support with that, because you could end up pulling the plug on your idea prematurely before it is properly understood, or you may never get it off the ground because the collective just won't allow you to get it off the ground if you allow the influence of people to get to you. If you need a loan and the bank doesn't understand because you're a really individual type and you're doing things in a really new way, you may need to look at other ways to fund your initiative without being disheartened about that process of not being given money because someone doesn't understand what you're doing. So this is point 4, just to round up collective, tribal, or individual. I didn't go into tribal that much, but this is something that you should look at and consider. And to understand that, I would highly recommend understanding your energetic blueprint. Number 5 on my list of things to do before you jump into your ideas without proper assessment is to trust time and play with time. So I touched on already that in this realm, of course, we're in a time construct. We are here governed to a certain extent by the collective's understanding of time. However, there are really, I want to use the word potent, express time portals that exist. And if you want to go on a deep dive, or you have some understanding about new physics, if you have some understanding about like what different physics sciences are investigating in terms of time, it's not that crazy. It's really not. It's actually right there. And what you may find, if you're noticing your patterns of behavior, you can be crunching at a desk or like work. You could be like trying to like, you know, squeeze these ideas out of your thought. You're trying to like plan and strategize, and you're just like, you won't let yourself like get up from the desk, and you're working for 10 hours a day. And it's like really hard. And then one day you just walk in and you just look out and bing, like inspiration strikes. It's the spark. You're in the right place at the right time. And when you're at the right place for the inspiration to come through, you're going to get that answer that you need. So sometimes it's about not trying to push out and struggle with details when the time, and importantly the place, is not right. You're not at the place you need to be at yet. So playing with time, understanding non-linear time. So take the time to meditate. Take the time to go play, go to the beach, roll around in the grass, go have that drink with your friends. Don't grind on pushing through, I'm trying to say dense energy. Don't grind trying to push yourself through dense energy when the moment is going to come. You're going to be at the right place. And who knows where that place is? You don't know where that place is. So it might be at the beach when you get that sudden idea, and you don't know what time it's going to come. So don't chain yourself to a desk or to a situation which you are not enjoying, to try to squeeze out something that is not, adequately incubated yet. So that's how we play with time, and have the expectation also to play with non-linear time, in that if it's going to happen, if it will happen, it's already happened somewhere in between the realms. So trust that the thing that's going to happen has already happened. Just because it hasn't happened yet, don't, if you feel the energy for it and you feel the pull towards it, if you've gone through all of these assessment steps, if you've wound it up against your goals and your values, you've developed a mission statement, if you've got your branding sorted, you know who you're serving, you've articulated your scope, okay, whether it's collective, individual, or tribal. You're also being kind to yourself in this process. You're also letting go of your attachment to time and things like working in a way that you expect or that lines up with the neighbor next to you. Like, we're all achieving things in different ways at different times. We are different mediums. We're different channels. We're different mediums. Like, information comes through, ideas come through, inspiration comes through, action comes through, all in its unique form to us. So it's not going to look the same for everybody. So trusting that if it's going to happen, it's already happened, and you can get into that feeling in your body. And this is law of assumption. If you want to get into law of assumption, you can assume it's well and done, already cooked. So all you need to do is sit back and enjoy the ride and do what your inner authority guides you towards. I also wanted to add that, if we talk about being a medium or being a channel and allowing that spark and that inspiration to come through, it's really important for us to be in our own flow, or in our own sense of rhythm, and to be flowing through life, which enables us to be in the right place, the right time, the right coordinate for that information to come through. But the thing about ideas, if you're a really plentiful idea, if you're plentiful ideation, and this is me, by the way, I'm not talking out of my ass, this is like very personal. Not all ideas are going to be for you. So start to understand, if you're an ideas machine, if you're an ideas maker, not all your ideas are for you. You might be capturing these ideas which are floating in the field, and they're not all for you to action. Some of them might be for you to action, but that's why they need to go through this assessment, and careful assessment, and allowing the time for them to really gestate on their own and make it clear that they are ideas for you to initiate, or for you to, cultivate. But if you have ideas and other people come through and deliver those ideas before you, don't get all in a twist. It happens, and particularly through the art world we see this, and there's a lot of copywriting issues, issues with copyright, and it's not a great feeling. It's not super nice for a small artist who feels like they're struggling to see their ideas taken by some like big corporation, and like their ideas are printed on t-shirts, and H&M is suddenly making lots of money. I don't know anything about, I'll omit their name because I don't know anything about them. I'm just saying, I know that artists like will often see like big brands take their ideas. We really need to let go of this. I feel like this is one of the critical things that is actually probably more of a hindrance for an artist. Move on. If you're an artist, if you're a creator, come up with your next idea. Not all ideas are yours. Even if you make the first print, it is how it is. It will be how it will be. If it gets picked up and it gets taken and you don't get any money for it, I don't know, find a way to connect that story and just move on. Of course, if litigation, if litigation is correct for you, this is something you need to like go into your body, and again, using your inner authority to guide you with, and that's going to be my point 6. So I better move along to it. But just to round off that, this is the non-linear time section of 5. Just let go of the ideas that, aren't for you. If they get picked up by someone else sooner than you do, or they don't fit in your goals, they don't fit with the values, they're really not lining up with anything, you don't seem to have the energy to birth them, don't drag yourself over the coals for not like taking the opportunity to make the idea happen. It wasn't for you, let it go. Number 6 is to learn your particular decision-making authority and strategy within your body. So understanding in human design, going to your body graph and looking at your energetic blueprint for what is your inner authority. What is guiding you in your body to make decisions for you? And when you understand that critical piece and that critical point, you will be able to sort through your ideas, go through these quite practical systematic steps for planning out those ideas, but really using your decision making strategy and authority and that inner authority in your body to become familiar with which ideas you're actually moving towards. How is your body telling you that this is the right idea? Is it a moment to moment primal instinct? Is it a very soft, subtle voice that you're hearing? Society doesn't seem to have like a very friendly way of dealing with voices, in inner voices, or hearing things, but there are plenty of people in society which are 100% normal. It's extremely normal for them to hear something that might be very subtle, that they will guide them. And it's about understanding where that voice comes from and the subtlety of that voice, and it happens in a moment, and if you miss it, if you blink, you'll miss it. So you have to be like really ready to trust that voice. But that's only some people. There's only a certain people that are really going to follow that guidance. For some other people, myself included, we have an emotional wave. The emotional wave needs to cycle all the way through before I would confirm a yes or a no to a decision. That cycle could take a month. I am not a spontaneous instant decision maker. I want to take as much time as I need to get clarity and to gain clarity. And I would suggest that that's quite a lot of people need that kind of clarity. And the world is sort of built in a way where we've sped up this process and we sort of like need to act on things. And I do see a lot in some certain marketing and coaching, branding and things like that are like, to be a good decision maker, you have to just make a decision. You have to make it on the spot, and you have to move forward and you have to live with that decision. I mean, that is a top dog leadership strategy. I've been in rooms, I've worked in places with secretaries, and not a secretary like an EA, not an assistant, but like a secretary, which is a very senior role, which a secretary is just under a minister. This is in state government in Australia. Anyway, really, really senior people answering like, what is it that they do? How do they make decisions? And they say, we make decisions and we learn to move on, and then we just like have to live with the decision. We have to stand by them. That's all well and good for them if they are in tune with their particular decision making, but they cannot share that and have everybody else expect to have the same results with the same strategy. This person may have read something in a book and they're actually not living their own authentic decision making. Maybe they're just governing through what they've read and what they've learned about, but maybe it's actually not supernatural to them. But often, and even people in very senior positions will have something else going on for them which they're not conveying. They know it's that special something that they really can't explain, because they would sound nutty or batty or crazy or something like that. So understanding your unique decision making, which all resides in the body, it's not in the head, it's not in the mind. Ideas come from the mind, yes they do, but the ideas themselves are not a yes and a no. And the idea themselves, or the inspiration, or just because you had the idea, it does not mean that you're going to fulfill that idea or take that opportunity on for yourself. We need to understand our inner guidance, and there are quite a few different options and scenarios for this. So again, go into your human design chart deeply. I'd love you to book an assessment with me if you've gotten all the way through this and you're interested, because you're an ideas queen or king, or being. I'd love to talk to you about those ideas and how to properly assess before you move forward into action. Or if you're looking for any other guidance, we can tackle this in a lot of different ways. So thank you for staying with me today, and we'll chat to you soon. Have a good day.